Today we are going to do lesson 27, more distributive property. So far we have done 4 times 2 plus 7 two different ways. We've done it where we added first and we've done it where we multiplied first. So when we added first, it looks something like this. 4 times 2 plus 7, then we added that 2 plus 7, so then it was 4 times 9, and then 4 times 9 is 36. Then we also learned how to do it by multiplying first. So then we did 4 times 2 and then 4 times 7. So 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 7 is 28, 8 plus 28 is 36. So you get the same answer both ways. And then we did something where it was 4p times x plus 3y, where we do this times this, this times this. So then we end up with 4p times x, which is 4px, plus 4p times 3y, which is 12py. So now we're going to do a little bit more on this where we have more variables at the beginning. So our first example looks something like this. xy times y squared minus x squared z. So we are still going to do this times this and this times this. But when we first write it out, we're going to do xy times y squared plus xy times negative x squared z. Now when we combine our terms, or we actually multiply this, it's going to be xy cubed, because there's no other x, but then y times y squared is y cubed. And then we have plus a negative, or a positive times a negative. When we are multiplying a positive times a negative, we get a negative answer. So this is going to be minus. We have x times x squared, which is x cubed. And then we will have y and z. So this is our answer, xy cubed minus x cubed y z. Example number 2. We have 4xy cubed times x to the 4th y minus 5x. So again, we're going to take this times this, and then this times this. So 4xy cubed times x to the 4th y plus 4xy cubed times negative 5x. So 4 times 1 is 4. X times x to the 4th is x to the 5th. And then we have y cubed times y, which is y to the 4th. We have positive times a negative, so this will be minus. 4 times 5 is 20. X times x is x squared, and then we have y cubed. So our answer is 4x to the 5th, y to the 4th, minus 20, x squared, y cubed. Okay. Let me show you now what happens if we don't want to keep writing all those steps out. So before we wrote out, okay, well, I'm going to multiply this by this, and I really was showing all of my steps. You don't have to always show all of your steps. If you are more comfortable showing all of your steps, that's totally fine. You have that option. But let me show you another way to do this. So we are still going to take this number, and we're going to multiply it by both of these things. So first, we're going to multiply by ay. So we have 2x squared y times ay. So 2 times 1 is 2. There's no other a, so it would just be the a. We don't have any other x, so it would be x squared. And y times y is y squared. And then we have minus, because positive 2 times a negative 4 would be a negative number. 2 times 4 is 8, so it would be minus 8. And then we have x squared, there's no other x, and then y times y to the 5th is y to the 6th. So that would be our answer. 2x squared y squared minus 8x squared y to the 6th. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit more complicated where there are 3. We're going to multiply this by this, this by this, and then this by this. 8 times 5 is 40. M squared times m cubed is m to the 5th. X times x is x squared. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. M squared, because there's no other m's, x times x to the 5th is x to the 6th. 8 times 2 is a positive 16. And then we have m squared and then x times x is x squared. So our answer is 40m to the 5th x squared minus 24m squared x to the 6th plus 16m squared x squared. So when we are dealing with decimals, there is a simple way to solve these problems, these kinds of equations. And the simplest way is to be multiplying by a power of 10 so that all of the numbers are whole numbers and not decimal numbers. So in order to do this, I just need to look at all of the numbers involved, and I need to see how many digits I'm going to need to make that a whole number. So we have, in this first example, 0.4, which is 1 digit, 0.02, 2 digits, and then 0.6, which is 1 digit. So if we multiply this whole thing by 100, so we're going to multiply by 100. If I multiply everything in this by 100, I am not altering the overall equation. I am just altering so that it makes my numbers a little bit easier to deal with. So 0.4 times 100 is 40, plus 0.02 multiplied by 100 is just 2. So then I have 2m equals 4.6 times 100 is 460. Okay, now I just need to solve this like normal. I am going to subtract 40 from both sides, and I get 2m equals 420. Divide by 2, and I get m equals 210. Okay, let's try another one. This first term has 3 digits, then I have 2 digits, then I have 2 digits. So really, if I multiply this whole thing by 1,000, that is going to get all of these to have whole numbers. So 1,000 times 0.002k, I am just left with 2k. 1,000 times 0.02 is going to be 20, and 4.02 is going to be 4,020. All right, so now I can deal with these bigger numbers a little bit easier. So I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides, and I get 2k equals 4,000. Divide by 2, and I get k equals 2,000.